Tottenham Hotspur 1, AZ Alkmaar 0. Tottenham get another victory in the Europa League. Welcome into Top of the Perch. I am your host, as always, Nick Burt. This was an interesting game, to say the least, for Tottenham. It felt like this was going to be the toughest challenge so far that they have faced in the Europa League. Obviously, they have faced Karabakh at home and traveled to Ferencváros on the road in Hungary and Budapest. Both those teams don't feel like they're at the level of what an AZ Alkmaar is at. So this would be a test, obviously. There are much tougher games down the road, mostly obviously looking at Roma at home, Rangers away. But this will going to give you a feel of how this Europa League campaign might go. Now, Tottenham, the starting 11 today, a little bit of mixed match. You have a few usual first-team players, but you have Fraser Forster. You got a mix in the center back positions of Dragusin and Davies. You got Archie Gray on right back. You got a mismatched midfield. You got Timo Werner starting. So this was always going to be a game where you just got to control what you can control. And Tottenham knew that, AZ will probably play probably a little bit more back, might be more of a defensive game. They're going to have to take their opportunities when they can. And a 1-0 game. It's a 1-0 game, but this was still a very well played game for Tottenham. We'll just start right here. Mikey Moore didn't get his goal today, but man, oh man, that's all I've seen over the timeline. This kid is generational. I don't know the words to put it. He was incredible today. Started out in the 4th minute. A terribly put cross into the box by Timo Werner. Ends up with Moore working with it. I mean, he almost heads it into the back of the net, just a little bit wide, but you could see that it was possibly going to be the game for him, obviously. He didn't end up getting the goal, but nevertheless, we'll get to more of his gameplay later. But, Alkmaar, it was a struggle for them today, obviously. This is the best team they've faced this year. So therefore, it was going to be difficult. I mean, they did get caught out in the 27th minute, right around there. I mean, Timo Werner on a fast break. There was that 0 point whatsoever watching that. I thought he was going to finish that. He doesn't, shoots it right at the keeper. It is what it is. Felt like this was going to be a game when you have Timo Werner, basically as your big attacking wing option. Like, it may be difficult. Fraser Forster makes an incredible save off a corner kick in the 28th minute, I believe it was. Just an incredible diving stop. I was worried about him starting. I'm still worried about him starting in the future, but he had a very good game today. I will give him credit for that. He was lights out in net today. Now, of course, you're facing a lesser competition, and I still think we should upgrade eventually for a backup keeper, but here we are. Great game from him. 38th minute, it is Richarlison coming back from injury. I believe this is his first start since injury. Forces a turnover in the midfield, goes on a fast break. It's 2-on-1 with Werner. Again, at 0 point did I think that ball was going in. It doesn't. And we go into the half 0-0. For Tottenham, it felt like they were controlling the game. They just couldn't get the finish. And that is very much what was happening. The ref was quite questionable in this game. There were a few penalty shouts throughout the first half that, it included the second half, I should say, also in that. But the first half, there were a few questionable ones, and they just didn't even look at it, which is something. Get into the second half. Mikey Moore, like a minute into the second half, delivers a perfect ball that almost gets to Lucas Bergvall. It just misses his foot. It goes out of play, but you could see like this second half was going to be incredible for him. It very much ends up turning out that way. I believe the quote from James Maddison, the captain for today's match, was from the 45th to the 66th minute. It felt like I was playing out there with Neymar. The fact he's 17 years old and they're saying things like that, absolutely insane. I believe it was 52nd minute, ball delivered into the box. It's Bergvall and Maddison there with, I believe it was 3 Alkmaar defenders. The Alkmaar defender takes down Bergvall in the box. It's a penalty. After a bit of a seemed like internal scuffle between Maddison and Richarlison of who was taking the penalty, Maddison gets ready to take it. He then hands it off to Richarlison. Richarlison puts it in the back of the net. It is 1-0 to Tottenham in the 53rd minute. He, of course, does the bird celebration, doing his thing. But felt like that was kind of a goal he needed, which for Maddison to kind of see that, like, that's real leadership there, like showing like, hey, like, I know my player probably needs this. We're going to hand it off here. So Tottenham have a 1-0 lead. And at this point, it was just about holding the lead because Alkmaar, like, they didn't truly feel like they were ever on the attack. Like, they had their moments, but they just couldn't break through. And for Tottenham, it felt like this might be a struggle to try to find a second today. So let's try and not concede and, take these 3 points with a 1-0 victory. And to their credit, I mean, defensively, they locked down. Like I said, Mikey Moore had just so many great plays in this game. It was just incredible. But getting back to the gameplay, I believe like 74th minute, Fraser Forster forced into another incredible save. Again, it worked out this time. It may not work out again, which, again, I don't love that he's in net for these type of games. It worries me because he's not at that level. He's not at that level. We know it. He's not, and here we are anyways. So for that, that was roughly about all you would get from this game. You would have Alkmaar pick up a red card in the 85th minute. It was a second yellow, so obviously that turns into red for a foul on Brennan Johnson. And they would play down to 10 men for basically the last 5 minutes. So, again, not much, but Tottenham walk away victorious in this one, 1-0. Let's take a look at the stats. Tottenham control possession, obviously, as per usual, 59% to 41% for the Netherlands side. 16 shots compared to 9 shots. I mean, that's a pretty good split there. I know I said Alkmaar wasn't feel like on their game like at all today. I still think that was very much proven here. I mean, 3 of those shots were on target. So, I mean, that is that's quite a large split there. You had 10 shots in the box, 6 out the box for Tottenham compared to the 3 in the box and 6 out for AZ Alkmaar. I think that shows more of they were truly locked down in the box today, and Alkmaar knew if they were going to get a goal, like, it had to come from the outside, and it didn't, thankfully. So Tottenham controlled that. Expected goals as expected. I mean, Tottenham win that 1.88 to 0.41. 0 yellow cards for Tottenham today, which doesn't usually happen. They usually find a way to get at least 1 yellow card. So that was pretty good, especially on 13 fouls too. Whew, that's pretty good. And then the corners almost split 6-4 in Tottenham's advantage. So with that, let's take a look at the player ratings for this one. Of course, we start up top. We'll start on the left. Oh, man. Mikey Moore, I've already waxed poetically about this 17-year-old. He is the man of the match for this match. I know he didn't score. This felt like it was his breakout game, which is absolutely incredible. His youth career should be over. It truly should be. I know he's not going to be getting starts in, the Prem, but he 1,000% should be in front of Timo Werner right now. Especially when you're getting subs in the Premier League, there's zero reason whatsoever Mikey Moore should not be coming on instead of Timo Werner. Timo Werner, theoretically, it would be nice if his Tottenham career ended today. I know that's not going to happen because we don't truly have the depth in this position, but it should. Mikey Moore's, his youth career should end today. I doubt it does, but it should be. This was his breakout performance. I can't wait for that first goal because that first goal is going to be absolutely incredible for this absolutely outstanding player. Richarlison, 7.9. He had the goal in the match. I thought he was very good today. Obviously, the one goal off a penalty, he was still getting in position to finally find the back of the net. And I'm hopeful for him. Now, he's fallen down the pecking order. Of course, Solanke is going to be the one starting up top. That's how it is. That is what's going to happen. And I know Richarlison's probably not thrilled about that. But I do think for Richarlison, when he's in like a substitute position, like during the weekend, if we're in the weekend and we're down 1-0 on Sunday, you bring on Richarlison, I think he's going to give you a good shot. We'll see, though, but I think he may give you a good shot. Timo Werner, I already kind of got into it. He earns a 6.6 in this match. It was not good. It was not good whatsoever. I haven't seen very much good performances from him, period. So, we'll just move on from there. Midfield, I thought was pretty decent today. I know a few people were a little bit low on the midfield today, but I thought they did pretty well. Lucas Bergvall earns a 7.6. Same with James Maddison. He earns a 7.6. And Bentancur, the best out of the bunch, just barely with a 7.7. I thought they played really well. I thought the chemistry was working, and then obviously subs, and then it kind of just, it kind of falls apart from there, but it is what it is. Players getting much needed rest, some players getting much needed playing time. I think this game worked out for everybody here, especially in the midfield. I obviously would like to see Bergvall more play time in the Premier League. I know there's just not the room for it right now. And I know injuries are eventually going to come. That's just how this game is. Injuries are going to come. Will maybe get an opportunity, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for him. I hope he gets more playing time. I love what he's doing in the Europa League right now. Destiny Udogie, I thought he was the best of the back line today. 8.2, which is actually the highest rated player we have. I mean, he looked great today. Is that because he was the only, starter on that back line today? Possibly, but who knows? We'll see. I thought he looked really well today. The center back duo of Ben Davies and Radu Dragic both earn a 7.3. It wasn't awful. It wasn't great. I think the lack of defensive performance in a few spots that forced Foster into, a save that I would be worried about him facing. It's a little bit worrying, but it was an awful performance that got the job done. That's all we can say. Archie Gray, another great youth talent. I can't wait to see this kid just continue to grow in this Tottenham system. 7.7, I thought a great day. And like I said, I have to give Fraser Forster his praise. 7.8 today. I thought he did an incredible job, had some very key saves. I still would like to move on from him, but I know that's not going to be possible anytime soon. And now we get to the subs. Brendan Johnson was brought in at half for Timo Werner, earns a 7.1. I thought he did really well today. Obviously didn't get a goal, but still played really well. Dominic Solanke, 7.0. He was getting in there. I thought he may have had a goal a few times. He doesn't, but it is what it is. Kulusevski and Sarr both got subbed on. I believe it was like the 72nd or 73rd minute, so they have just under 20 minutes of play time. Obviously, grades start to get affected as less and less you play, but it is what it is. And Wilson Odobert makes his reappearance after a injury that he suffered. I believe it was the Carabao Cup against Coventry. He is back. Obviously, just got a little bit of playing time being subbed on in the 87th minute. You kind of want to slowly progress your way back, and I completely understand that. So given that, Tottenham sit second in the Europa League. Lazio sit first. Obviously, the difference here is a goal differential. I believe Lazio is at 9, Tottenham's at 5. So they're both on 9 points. I believe the only other team on 9 points in the Europa League is Anderlecht from Belgium. Of course, a huge storied history with them between, the Belgian side and Tottenham. But nevertheless, Tottenham, they get the job done today. Job done. Great work. Sunday, Crystal Palace on the road at Selhurst Park. It should be a win, but Dr. Tottenham always comes knocking, especially if you're a team with no wins on the season like Crystal Palace is right now. Oliver Glasner seems under fire. Who knows? We'll see. After that, for the Europa League, I do not believe they play until the second week in November, I believe. First week in November, something. I believe it's like the first full week in November. Something around the 8th or 9th, or maybe the 7th, they traveled to Turkey to face off against Galatasaray. And then next midweek, it is Manchester City home in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. That should always thrilling time with that. So given that, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Top the Perch. Thank you so much for watching. If you just stumbled across this video, click like, click subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. If you stumble across a video like college football, check out the Merrifield Sportsbook show. You'll get everything you need to know about this upcoming week in college football. We will be back here Sunday to recap that trip to Selhurst Park in the London Derby. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again soon for another episode of Top of the Perch.